My boyfriend Blazion seems to not love me anymore. At first, he came home later and later, then he simply stopped having dinner at home. Later, he started leaving earlier and earlier in the mornings. I woke up and reached out to touch the side. The bed was already cold, morning kisses had become a thing of the past. Now, there were no daily little gifts, no dozens or hundreds of messages every day. Nothing. The proof of Blazion's love for me was fading away. There was only the loneliness of his absence at home. By now, he hadn't come home for a week. Blazion used work as an excuse, saying the company was busy with urgent projects and he would stay there for a few days, yet he didn't send a single message on his own, not even a reply. So, I decided to sneak into the company to see him. The man was dressed in a suit, tall and slender, with a handsome and gentle demeanor. Blazion was talking to his secretary and didn't notice me. After a while, I went straight up to him and asked, "Blazion, why aren't you coming home?" He gave a slight surprise, a gentle smile on his face. "Myra, I've been a bit busy lately." "How can you be so busy? Don't you even have time to come home?" Blazion frowned slightly, his eyes no longer holding the usual tenderness. "Myra, don't make a scene." My heart contracted heavily, the pain spreading throughout my body. The grievances bottled up for over a month erupted today. Tears streaming down in an instant. "Blazion, how could you? I care about you. Do you even understand that?" Blazion did nothing, not holding me in his arms to comfort me like before. He just glanced at me casually and said indifferently, "Secretary Chen, let's head to the meeting room first." He turned and left without a hint of hesitation. Secretary Chen gave me a conflicted look before following him out. Walking down the street, I wiped away my tears and looked up blankly, suddenly feeling as if there was nowhere to go. My family is harmonious, my parents are somewhat well off, and they bought me a small apartment in the expensive city of Air. I have a large group of friends who are always ready to stand up for me, and a mentor who cares about me. Screw Blazion, I, Myra Jiang, am one of a kind, unmatched in this world. He dares to treat me like this. He'll never meet someone as good as me again in the future. But can a person change so drastically all of a sudden? A month ago, he was completely different. Before, he would call every day. "Myra, have you eaten? Myra, it's a bit cold today. Are you okay? Myra, are you happy today?" In the past, no matter how busy Blazion was with work, he would come home every day. He would bring me little cakes, necklaces, rings, and flowers. In winter, he would tuck my feet into his embrace. Blazion knows how to love well. He wants to be good to someone, to hold her in the palm of his hand. I want to give Blazion one last chance. If he can't seize it, he will lose me forever. Back home, I carefully look around. Every corner here bears traces of the love between Blazion and me. The couple's water cups, toothbrushes, hugging pillows, and everything else were all chosen together by us. Photos of him and me can be seen everywhere at home. In the photos, I laugh with my head thrown back, while he always tilts his head slightly, gazing at me with a gentle smile. In our first year together, Blazion looked at me with determination and said, "I will always treat you well, and we will never be apart." I'm certain that, at that time, I was the one he loved the most. Memories flooded my mind, and my nose tingled with emotion. I took out my phone and opened the chat with Blazion. I scrolled up. His last message was from 3 p.m. a week ago. At that time, he was about to go on a business trip and sent me a message before boarding the plane. "Myra, I'll be back soon." I steeled my heart, took out my phone, and called him, until the cold female voice sounded. He didn't answer. I know he deliberately ignored the call. Furious, I started spamming him with messages. "You're done, Blazion. Now you won't even pick up my calls, if you keep acting like this. We're breaking up." "Why? Just tell me why. I don't like what you've become." In the middle of the night, I drifted off into a daze. I dreamed of a knocking sound. Slowly, one knock, then a pause, followed by another. It was the distinctive knocking of Blazion. Suddenly, I jolted awake from the dream. The living room light is still off. "Blazion, are you back?" I stared intently at the door, but there wasn't a single sound. Opening the door, a pink rose appeared before my eyes. I gazed at this pink rose in silence for a long time. Blazion has returned. I still decided to go find Blazion once again. First, I called his secretary Chen Chiu and asked where they were now. There was a long silence on the other end, so prolonged that I thought I had dialed the wrong number. Then, a hoarse voice spoke up. "The hospital, Mr. Shen is at the hospital." What happened to Blaze Shen? What exactly happened? Where? Tell me. "See you in hospital, 3rd floor, room 302. I hailed a taxi and rushed to the hospital, my heart filled with uncontrollable panic. What's wrong with Blaze Shen? What happened? Why did he go to the hospital? I even thought Blaze Shen might have a terminal illness. Just like those cliché plots in movies, he deliberately said harsh words to push me away, not wanting to hold me back. I begged the driver through tears to go faster, as if even a second's delay would mean my world would lose Blaze Shen. At the hospital, I pulled out a few red bills, not even counting them, and shoved them into the driver's hand. The elevator was too crowded, so I grabbed my high heels and ran barefoot up the stairs. By then, my hair was disheveled, my eyes red and swollen. I looked like a madwoman. Seeing Blaze Shen standing dazedly in the hallway, I rushed forward and hugged him. Blaze Shen, holding Blaze Shen, I realized how terribly thin he had become. Even through his suit, his ribs felt hard and prominent against my hands. He was startled by me, and upon seeing my appearance, a fleeting tenderness and concern flashed in his eyes before they turned cold and hard again. I nestled in Blaze Shen's arms and spoke in a muffled voice. "Blaze Shen, what's wrong? Are you hurt? Why are you at the hospital? If you're sick, you must tell me. I'll stay with you." He gently patted my head and took out a handkerchief to wipe the sweat from my forehead. Then, he carried me to sit on a bench in the hallway and helped me put my shoes back on. He looked at me deeply several times, his eyes clouded with emotions I couldn't decipher. Suddenly, he buried his head tightly against my neck. I could feel his warm, moist breath. I thought we were about to reconcile. "Blaze Shen, are you sick?" He didn't speak, only shook his head. After a while, he lifted his head, his amber eyes glistening as if tears were about to fall the next second. "Myra Jiang, let's break up." I was trembling with anger, clenching my teeth, staring at him fiercely. "Blaze Shen, do you know what you're saying?" "I do." "You know nothing. Blaze Shen, don't lie to me. Are you sick?" He remained silent, his expression unchanged. I slowed my voice. "Blaze Shen, whatever you need to tell me, we can face it together." He remained silent for a long time, and when he finally spoke, his lips trembled. "Myra Jiang, I don't like you anymore. I've fallen in love with someone else." "What? Impossible. I don't believe it." "Myra Jiang, I'm tired. Love is inherently the most cliched storyline, and changing hearts is just human nature." "Impossible." I gripped his hand tightly. "Then why did you come to the hospital? Is a month enough for you to fall for someone?" "Myra Jiang, she's an employee at my company. She's sick, and I came specifically to accompany her. We've known each other for years, and I've always liked her." He paused, then added, "If you don't believe me, you can ask Secretary Chen." No wonder Chen Chiu had been silent for so long, so he was afraid I'd come to catch him in the act. I fought back tears, still stubbornly insisting. "Liar, I don't believe you. Myra Jiang, we've been together too long. Love fades gradually, and parting is natural. I should have a new life, and so should you." When he spoke, there was no emotion in his eyes, nor the slightest fluctuation on his face. He truly seemed indifferent. Suddenly, I remembered how he looked when he confessed to me. Blaze Shen's eyelashes were strikingly noticeable, thick and long, fluttering like a doll's, slightly lowered to cover his pupils. His ears turned red as he lifted his head, his sparkling eyes fixed on me. With just that one glance, I was completely drawn in. The current Blaze Shen feels so unfamiliar to me. "Blaze Shen, you're such a jerk." I slapped him hard across the face. His head jerked to the side, and a swollen red handprint instantly bloomed on his cheek. Yet he still looked at me calmly and said, "Myra Jiang, you'll find someone who loves you more." With those words, he turned and walked away without a trace of hesitation. As I watched his retreating figure, a nurse beside me handed me a tissue. Touching my face, I realized tears had already streamed down my cheeks. Today, I broke up with my boyfriend of 4 years. In a daze, I walked home and started packing my suitcase. Every single item in this house was chosen together. Infused with our most sincere and passionate love, Now it seems truly glaring. I don't want to bring anything with me, so I just took a taxi as soon as I went downstairs. It's already early autumn, and the north always turns cold quickly. I still remember it was midsummer when I moved here. The passionate cicada songs and lush green leaves seemed just before my eyes. Blazion carried several bags, greeting me with a gentle smile as he welcomed me inside. Now, I leave alone. Without taking a single piece of luggage. Miss, where are you headed? The driver uncle called out to me in a loud voice. I glanced out the car window a few more times. Uncle, just drive around. I'll pay. Suddenly, I remembered last summer when Blazion and I went out for beer. He carried my drunk self home. With plane trees lining both sides of the street, lying on his back, I thought that was what forever felt like. Now, looking at the plain tree-lined streets covered with fallen leaves, with a different state of mind and a changed environment, all I feel is desolation. The car drove slowly for a while. It stopped at a red light. The driver turned his head and said, "Young lady, you must be heartbroken." I forced a smile. "How did you know? Can you read minds or something?" "Haha, I can't read minds. But I can read faces. Yours told me everything." I was at a loss for words, suddenly overwhelmed by a wave of sadness. Ever since breaking up with Blazion, I'd find myself inexplicably sad for no reason at all. "Young lady, you look so youthful. Don't waste your energy on someone unworthy. Your parents would be heartbroken to see you like this." I was reminded of the time I brought Blazion home. He carried himself like a successful man, with such a humble attitude, and treated me so well. Needless to say, he charmed my parents beyond measure. We've broken up now, and I don't know how to tell my parents. Just as I got off the car, Shu Qing happened to call me. Shu Qing and I have known each other for 9 years, and our relationship couldn't be better. As soon as the call connected, her angry voice came through, cursing Blazion fiercely. "Myra Jiang, Blazion is such a bastard. I'm definitely going to beat him up and knock all the water out of his head." Hearing the familiar voice, I couldn't hold back my tears. My voice choked up as I slowly poured out my grievances. Shu Qing, Blazion and I broke up. He doesn't like me anymore. He has someone else he likes now. "Myra Jiang, let me come keep you company. I'm so lonely by myself." "I'll come right now." "Okay." I knew she was lying. She was just worried about me, that's all. Sigh. "Myra Jiang, my apartment room is huge. Come keep me company." "Sure. How about hot pot, my treat?" "Perfect. My advisor hasn't been on my case lately." "Where?" "I'll be right there." Amidst the hazy steam rising, Shu Qing and I sat facing each other in the hot pot restaurant. Her eyes slightly reddened as she forced a cheerful tone. "Myra Jiang, it's so cold. I've been craving hot pot for ages. I recently discovered an incredibly delicious hot pot base recipe. Absolutely divine." She was worried about me. "Myra Jiang, many people are concerned about you. Alright. Today we feast like kings." "Okay, quickly dip this in. Just 3 seconds." Shu Qing was very concerned about me, following me closely, afraid I might do something foolish. After staying for a few days, I started looking at rental listings near the school. My advisor suddenly contacted me. The previously postponed overseas exchange program now has an investor, with a duration of 4 years. "Myra Jiang, this is a rare opportunity. As your mentor, I hope you'll go. Go do what you want to do. Your parents will always support you." "Myra Jiang, you should go. It's not like you can't come back, and it'll be a good chance to relax. Don't miss out on such a great opportunity. Everyone is trying to talk me out of it. I've decided to go abroad." 2 days later, as I'm about to board the plane, a sudden, inexplicable panic surges through me. My heart feels like it's about to leap out of my chest. Chen Qiu suddenly called me. His voice trembling like a sieve, he stammered word by word. "Myra Jiang, President Shen, President Shen." President Shen jumped off a building. Suicide. I didn't hear a single word after that, my ears roaring. I don't know how I got to the hospital. I met Chen Qiu. He spoke to me with a pale face. From the 6th floor. Jumped from the 6th floor. The project was just completed, and people nearby brought him here. My whole body stiffened, and my mind went numb. Why? President Shen attempted suicide several times, but was ultimately saved each time. I felt a bizarre sensation, as if the world had turned upside down. I didn't know. Why didn't I know? Chen Qiu's eyes were red-rimmed. Miss Jiang, President Shen deliberately kept it from you. President Shen had already made a will, leaving all his assets to you, just a few days before his passing. He even came home. His voice choked up, unable to continue. Suddenly, I remembered the pink roses at the doorstep that night. Blaise Shen had indeed come with a bouquet of flowers. I can't recall how long I waited outside the ICU that day, feeling as if I were in a dream. It was a dream so long, so deep, that one might never wake from it. I remember how Blaise Shen looked when they wheeled him out. His entire head and body were wrapped in bandages, leaving only his eyes exposed. The doctor spoke calmly. His internal organs were shattered. He won't last long. Just a matter of days now. Chen Qiu was crying sorrowfully beside me, yet I felt nothing. My consciousness still floating in the air, unable to shed a single tear, watching the scene before me. I suddenly recalled the crimson sunset outside my high school classroom window, the sycamore-lined avenue, and the glaring streetlights along the roadside. My mind raced, conjuring up various scenes and the diverse people around me. Anything but thoughts of Blaise Shen. In the dead of night, Blaise Shen woke up. His eyes widened significantly the moment he saw me, as if he had never imagined I would come. Then, he gave me a gentle smile, his eyes crinkling into slits. I looked at him, and as I kept looking, tears began to stream down my face. He could no longer speak, yet he still silently mouthed a few words. My emotions erupted in that moment. My voice lowered as I sobbed and cried out softly, "Blaise Shen, I don't understand. What if I can't understand? Blaise Shen, what should I do?" Blaise Shen shook his head slightly, his gaze growing even gentler. As if to comfort me, he trembled as he tried to lift his arm, but it didn't move at all. The doctor's words echoed in my ears, a comminuted fracture in the arm. I looked at his arm wrapped in bandages, gently lifting it a little so he could touch my face. Blaise Shen helped me dry my tears, while his own fell in large drops. Suddenly, a rumbling thunderclap sounded, and a bolt of lightning tore streaks of light across the pitch-black night sky. Bean-sized raindrops pounded against the window, making a pattering sound. Blaise Shen's eyes closed, his arms hanging lifelessly. He died quietly on a rainy late night. Blaise Shen's funeral was a quiet affair, with only a few in attendance. His parents had passed away. I knew that long ago. All these years, I've never met his friends, nor have I heard him mention them. It's too quiet. Blaise Shen, why is that? Why commit suicide? At the end of the funeral, I held Blaise Shen's black and white portrait and wept bitterly. Returning to the home I shared with Blaise Shen, everything in the house remained exactly as I had left it. The opened bag of chips, half eaten by me, still sat on the nightstand. The suitcase was left wide open, with clothes I had casually stuffed inside. Blaise Shen kept everything exactly as it was. Exactly as it was on the day I left. Entering the study, the room was clean and tidy, without a speck of dust. I quietly watched everything before me, as if Blaise Shen were still here. Under the sunlight, he squinted his eyes and waved at me. "Myra, come here." Most of the books on the shelf were Blaise Shen's professional books, with the bright yellow photo album standing out prominently among them. Those were the photos Blaise Shen and I took during our 4 years together. I took down the photo album and carefully traced each image of Blaise Shen's happy face, our shared smile by the Lotus Lake, our fleeting moment on New Year's Eve, our embrace inside the tent during the wilderness camping trip. The last page turned, and a thin sheet of paper fell out. "Myra, I've started staying awake all night. My heart aches. Myra, I took revenge on them. Myra, I saw Dad and Sister again. They told me to leave, but I can't bear to part with you. What should I do? Myra, my legs are starting to hurt too, but seeing you makes it a little better. Myra, I can't eat. Chen Qiu suggested I go see a psychologist. Myra, my legs hurt so much. I think it's Dad coming. Myra, the auditory hallucinations are getting worse. Myra, I'm going to die. Myra, leave me." The final words filled an entire page as he meticulously analyzed whether Myra would continue her happy life if he were to die. In the end, he wrote, "Suicide is already inevitable. My only fear is Myra witnessing it. Rather than letting Myra languish in the panic and unease of wondering, will Blaise Shen attempt suicide again? It would be a better choice to let her leave me. No wonder someone suddenly sponsored the school's study abroad exchange program. No wonder a pink rose appeared on the ground that night. No wonder. Everything suddenly made sense. After reading, I was breathing rapidly, my entire body trembling. Blazion, I'm not afraid of you. I'm heartbroken to death. In corners unknown to me, he endured the pain alone in silence. The information I found lay before my eyes. A few thin sheets of paper summarized the tragic life of Blazion. In 2003. Blazion was 8 years old when his parents divorced, and he stayed with his father. In 2007, Blazion was 12 years old and was placed in his uncle's care, not leaving the house for a year. According to villagers, he was tied to a corner by his uncle. In 2008, Blazion was 13 years old when he ran away from his uncle's home and later lived with his father. In 2012, Blazion was 17 years old when his father was accidentally caught in a meat grinder at the factory. Left disabled, and subsequently fired, 3 days later, his father committed suicide. In 2013, Blazion turned 18, and his sister was raped and murdered by Wang Lei. In 2019, Blazion was 25 and entered a romantic relationship with Myra Jiang. That same year, he was diagnosed with severe depression. In 2020, Blazion was 26. That year, Wang Lei went bankrupt and died a tragic death on the streets. In 2023, Blazion passed away at the age of 29. Blazion had walked alone in the darkness for many years, his illness always present. When I agreed to be with Blazion, when we lived happily together, pain followed like a shadow. The suffering of his earlier years continued to corrode his heart, and the happiness of being with me only accelerated this process. After taking revenge on those who hurt him, the pressure and pain burst forth, and his mental world collapsed at this moment. No one can save Blazion. I can't save Blazion either. Holding Blazion's clothes, I lay on the sofa crying bitterly until I passed out. At some point, in my dream, I once again saw the last words Blazion said to me before his death. What he said was, "Myra Jiang, forget about me." Suddenly, the school bell rang in my ears. Opening my eyes, I thought I was still dreaming. The noisy classroom, everyone was heading out the door. I stared blankly at the young Shu Qing beside me, then turned and ran toward the door. Blazion, the Blazion from high school, the Blazion who was still alive. I didn't know which class Blazion was in, so I grabbed someone nearby and asked, "Blazion, where is Blazion?" "Ah, I'm not sure, that top student, from class 17. I was so anxious I could go crazy. Arrived at Blazion's class. "Where's Blazion? Blazion, Myra Jiang, why are you looking for that jinx? Haha, where's that jinx Blazion? Hurry up and tell Myra Jiang, she's about to cry from anxiety. Haha, how amusing." Hearing the term jinx, I felt a surge of anger and was about to lose my temper. Blazion arrived. "Myra Jiang, are you here to see me?" He looked different from the image in my memory, where he was always dressed in a suit and tie. At this moment, he was wearing a slightly faded, old-fashioned school uniform, a pair of clean sneakers, and his hair was a bit long, covering his eyes. After we got together, Blazion once told me that he had liked me since high school, but my impression of him was only from our university days. Fair and handsome, quiet and reserved, shy and restrained. Seeing such a vivid Blazion, my heart couldn't help but ache. Taking a deep breath, "Blazion, I've come to find you." Blazion's expression was hesitant, his body standing even straighter, looking at me helplessly. This was the 17-year-old, naive, still living Blazion. I took his hand and led him out, and Blazion didn't resist at all, standing face to face under the shade of the tree. I carefully traced the familiar face with my eyes. Is Blazion sick now? Does Blazion still think about suicide? Does Blazion like me now? A jumble of thoughts fills my mind. Finally, I blurted out, "Blazion, have you been experiencing heart pain while sleeping recently? Does your leg hurt? Can you fall asleep? Do you sleep well? Do you still think about suicide? More than anything else, I just want Blazion's health to improve a bit." He froze for a moment, then said, "It's okay, I guess." I tightly grasped his hand. Really, in the last few years before Blazion passed away, he had already started being unable to sleep through the night. a casually written line in the diary. Yet it represents Blazien's 3 painful years, lying on the same bed, yet I never noticed. Myra Jiang, you really are a fool. He let me hold his hand, shaking his head slightly, and said earnestly, no, I slept quite well. Blazien, can you eat something? Yes, let's have meals together from now on. I'll keep you company. Why? I enjoy eating with you. Blazien's expression turned slightly awkward, his eyelashes fluttering. All right, after class. I took Shu Qing to have lunch with Blazien. Myra Jiang, why did you suddenly want to have lunch with Blazien? I like him. Oh, I knew it. Wait, did I just hear that right? I looked straight at Shu Qing's surprised face and said earnestly, I really like him. The science building and the liberal arts building are not in the same location, and the cafeteria is closer to the liberal arts building. On the way, Shu Qing showed great interest in the matter and kept asking me about Blazien. A dream, in which I was dating Blazien. That's so magical. No wonder I've never heard you mention him before. How do you do this dream? I'll try it too, see if I can meet my dream guy. When we arrived at the restaurant, Blazien was already waiting at the door, holding a small notebook and reading. I rushed up, smiling brightly to greet him. Hey, Blazien, have you been waiting long? Let's go in now. Not too long. Okay. Shu Qing winked at me behind my back and then turned to slip away. She sent me a message. I won't be the third wheel between you two anymore. Myra Jiang, hurry up and win this man over. The restaurant had a wide variety of dishes, but they weren't cheap. Blazien, which one do you like to eat? I'm fine with anything, whatever you'd like to eat. It suddenly occurred to me that Blazien once told me, in high school, I suffered from malnutrition and fainted several times due to low blood sugar. The cafeteria provides free rice and soup. Blazien, let's go eat the iron pot stew. Okay. Blazien is always like this, standing there so gently, as if he would agree to any unreasonable request. Auntie, we'll have the iron pot stew for 2. Just as Blazien was about to swipe his card, I stopped him. Hey, I said I'd keep you company. How could I let you pay for this? Blazien ate with great focus, only picking at the rice in his own bowl without glancing up at me. I placed a piece of meat in his bowl, feigning nonchalance. I said, Blazien, your grades are so good. Have you ever thought about tutoring someone? He looked up, his pale eyes showing a hint of unease. No, I see. How about tutoring me then? Seeing his hesitant expression, I quickly added a few more words. I really can't do math. And there's not much difference between the math in arts and sciences. Please, Blazien. I clasped my hands together. Please. All right, let's set a time then. Myra Jiang, I'm not sure yet. Let me think it over more carefully. Okay. In the afternoon, on the way to the cafeteria, we ran into Xu Feng and his group. Xu Feng looked us up and down. Hey, isn't this the top student Shen? Finally decided to eat. Don't tell me you're going to mooch the cafeteria's soup and rice again. Haha, the people behind him burst into laughter. I stood in front of Blazien, glaring fiercely at Xu Feng with fire in my eyes. Xu Feng, your mouth is so foul. Why don't you go wash it in the toilet? His face instantly turned red. Myra Jiang. What's it to you? Are you Blazien's mother or something? Or do you have a crush on him? He wears the same clothes and shoes every day, reeking of poverty from miles away. Blazien's youth was truly difficult. Everyone knew about his family situation, but some people trampled his dignity underfoot. I just feel heartbroken. I cut him off. And what the hell are you? You coward. Xu Feng stiffened his neck, wanting to come at me. Bitch. I was about to charge forward when Blazien moved. He scooped me up with one arm and placed me behind him. Then, he punched Xu Feng in the face. Blazien's veins bulged on his arms as he grabbed Xu Feng by the collar, hurling him against the wall with force, followed by several more punches that produced a sickening sound. Xu Feng spat out bloody foam from his mouth. Unable to speak, none of his underlings dared to step forward. Blazien's gaze turned icy. Don't insult Myra Jiang. I'm worried that Xu Feng might retaliate against Blazien, but Blazien calmly reassured me. Originally, I planned to find a way for us to transfer schools. Unexpectedly, the next day I heard that Xu Feng was going to transfer. Xu Qing looked indifferent. I don't know, heard he offended someone and got beaten up pretty badly, but he deserved it. Back then, He bullied a boy so badly that the boy was left disabled. After thinking it over for a few days, I gave my mom a call. Mom, dear mom, one of my classmates lives in that area too, and they're actually the top student in our grade. We can go together. Okay, please. Mom couldn't resist my pestering. Alright, Myra, but you must be extra careful. School was out. A sea of people, bustling with activity. I spotted Blazion at first glance. The tall, fair-skinned young man stood out strikingly. Blazion, we have a holiday tomorrow. Do you have any plans? The moment he saw me, his amber eyes sparkled with a fleeting joy. I'm fine. I'm renting a place off campus. Blazion, close to your home. Come help me. Okay. The apartment I rented is just across the street from Blazion's place. Blazion helped me move in the whole morning. At noon, I treated him to a meal at a nearby beef noodle restaurant. At 4 p.m., he meticulously taught me math for 2 hours with his textbook in hand. Blazion is truly smart and explains things in an easy-to-understand way. Outside of school, he often wears his uniform. The uniform is very clean. And even up close, you can only smell the fresh scent of soap. It was getting dark, so I asked Blazion to wait a moment and brought out some sliced fruit. Blazion remained motionless. I had no choice but to spear a piece of apple with a fork and bring it to his lips. Blazion's face flushed instantly, his eyelids half lowered, his thick lashes nearly obscuring his eyes. Blazion, try it quickly, it's really sweet. This trick worked well on Blazion, whether he was 25 or 17. Blazion opened his mouth with an unnatural expression and mumbled a vague thank you. I looked at him. Blazion, you've been talking to me for so long. Let me treat you to a meal. Thank you. But, no need to go out. I can cook, if you don't mind. I rushed forward, almost pressing my face against his. Really, that's amazing. Blazion, you're incredible. His ears were also bright red, slightly lowering his head, not daring to look at me. He took out the noodles bought earlier from the fridge and immediately turned to the kitchen. I followed him in, and he glanced at me, stammering, You can wait outside. The cooking fumes are too strong in here. It's okay, Blazion. I enjoy watching you cook. In my past life, even after he became a billionaire CEO, Blazion was always the one who cooked for me. Not only that, he rarely bought anything for himself. Even his pajamas were the same cotton style from his college days. After we got together, I ended up buying him a lot of things, mostly matching couple sets. I teased, Blazion, am I being too extravagant? At that moment, he held me close on the sofa, sunlight streaming down, the tenderness in his amber eyes nearly overflowing. No, I'm very happy. A steaming bowl of noodles was brought out, topped with a perfectly fried egg. As I ate, I couldn't help but start to cry. It tastes just like the meals from my past life. Blazion looked at me with concern, standing helplessly by my side with a tissue in hand. Myra Jiang, I'll come cook for you again tomorrow, okay? Blazion refused to accept the tutoring fee I offered, and his attitude was very firm. Myra Jiang, this is voluntary on my part. I don't want anything in return. I didn't say much more, only thinking about how I could treat him to more meals every day. Blazion was heading home when he happened to run into his father going out. Shen's father had a dark complexion, was lean and wiry, with an honest and simple appearance. Blaze, let's go home. This must be Blaze's classmate. You should head home early too. I greeted him with a bright smile. Hi, Uncle Shen. I'm Blaze's good friend. Blazion glanced at me sideways a few times but didn't say anything. Back home, I couldn't help but feel a bit restless. Blazion's father passed away this year. What should I do? My dad works in the news media department, so he has more connections than most. Thinking of this, I took out my phone and made a call. Dad, it seems like XX factory isn't operating quite properly. Several workers have already had accidents. His voice turned serious. Wait for me to investigate. If it's really as you say, this factory definitely won't be allowed to continue operating. I subtly brought it up again. Yeah, Dad, one of my classmates has a father who works there too. You see, alright. I get what you're hinting at, but, Dad's voice hesitated. What's your relationship with that classmate? You seem quite concerned about them. He's amazing, always ranks first in every exam. And he's really good looking too. Dad smiled helplessly and gave me a few words of advice. Alright, but don't let it affect your studies. I'll keep an eye on this matter. Mom and Dad always take my matters seriously and respect my decisions. As Blazion once mentioned, Myra Jiang has a happy family. Within a few days, the results came out. The factory lacked compliant protective measures, resulting in 3 workers being disabled and 1 worker killed, yet there was no compensation provided. And several workers were forcibly dismissed. Currently, this factory has ceased operations. When Blazion came to my house, I asked him if his father worked at the XX factory. He told me without hesitation. Yes, I didn't know how to ask his father to change jobs. If I said I had the ability to foresee the future, I'd sound like a madman. I pretended to be nonchalant. Blazion, isn't the factory about to shut down? Your dad probably hasn't found a job yet, right? Actually, there's another job I think would be perfect for your dad. Pretty easygoing too. Blazion's chopsticks froze, his head drooping lower until his face nearly touched the bowl. He stayed silent. I slowly walked over, crouched beside him, and gently cupped his face in my hands to lift it up. Blazion's eyes were brimming with tears, glistening and on the verge of falling. His lips slightly downturned and flushed with a rosy hue. He just looked at me like that. So beautiful. Would they feel soft if kissed? At 25, Blazion had endured all the hardships life could offer, yet before me, he remained ever composed and self-possessed. 17-year-old Blazion would feel sad in front of someone he liked, and he would shed tears because of kindness. Now, he's dull and slow, unable to see that Myra Jiang likes him. I couldn't help it. I kissed his cheek. Blazion was startled by me, his eyes wide, his mouth slightly open, tears suddenly streaming down his cheeks. I stared straight into his eyes. Blazion, do you see it now? I like you. He didn't speak, and a blush visibly spread across his cheeks at a noticeable speed. Blazion, take a deep breath. Don't hold yourself back. Blazion took a deep breath. Why you? I'm not good, have nothing. Blazion is great, really great. Blazion, now you have Myra Jiang, you'll have lots and lots of love. I reached out to wrap my arms around Blazion's neck, burying my head in the crook of his neck. Blazion's shoulders are broad, but the bones in his body are so hard they feel jarring. Such a tall person, yet only 4.5 pounds of ashes remained after cremation. A single box could hold it all. Blazion has had a really tough time these past few years. He lowered his head again, something he does most often in front of me. Blazion, don't always keep your head down. Don't hide your eyes. Let me take a good look at you. Okay. He lifted his head to look at me, his amber eyes glistening, and said firmly, Myra Jiang, I will cook for you every day, never make you angry, and bring you beautiful flowers every day. Myra Jiang, I will treat you well. 17-year-old Blazion and 25-year-old Blazion are very similar. Their way of loving is exactly the same. I leaned close to his ear and asked, then will you obediently listen to me? He nodded firmly. I will, I said with great seriousness. Like living well? He burst out laughing. What kind of thing is that? How is living well not a thing? It's the most important thing of all. My eyes suddenly stung with tears, turning my gaze away. I looked at the sunset outside the window. Blazion, you have to stay with me for a lifetime. Okay. Class ended at noon. Blazion was waiting for me downstairs. The sunlight shone on him, making him radiant. My eyes can only see him, on the road. Blazion, when did you fall for me? Blazion is a very oblivious person. He always seems to be one step behind. He's already become my boyfriend, but it still feels like we're just ordinary friends. I only dare to exchange a few more words. Yet don't even have the courage to hold his hand. You wouldn't know, it's a secret. Blazion looked at me with a beaming smile. I was suddenly amused. What? That's a secret too? Back then you didn't know me. You wouldn't even glance at me if we passed by. Hearing him speak in such a pitiful tone, I couldn't resist teasing him. Standing on tiptoe, I gently pinched his cheeks. Really, our Blazion is so pitiful, feeling wronged like this, at times like these. He always gets shy but doesn't dare stop me, whispering in a barely audible voice, there are people around. I love this bashful, newlywed bride demeanor of his the most. In his previous life, Blazion would never have been like this. Blazeshan is becoming more and more vibrant, and he will continue to improve. In the evening, we go home together. Blazeshan would magically pull out a small cake from his backpack. Strawberries adorn the top, and the soft, fluffy cake emits a delightful fragrance. Blazeshan once casually mentioned a few words about his high school days. He always wondered what the cake would taste like. Would the cream be delicious? But he never got to taste it. The money spent on this cake could have fed me for a whole week, and when I finally tasted it, it wasn't as delicious as I imagined. 17-year-old Blazeshan would spend a week's worth of meal money to buy me a small cake. I scooped a big spoonful and brought it to Blazeshan's lips first. Open up, Blazeshan. You try it first and tell me if it's good. Okay. He opened his mouth and ate it. Mumbling, he said, "It's quite tasty, sweet." I took a few bites and planned to put the remaining half in the fridge. We'll eat the rest together tomorrow. Blazeshan gently held my hand and said earnestly, "Myra, I have money. You'll have a new little cake every day." I understood what Blazeshan meant, but my heart ached for him. I didn't want him to spend so much money buying little cakes for me, yet he himself was living so frugally. "Myra, don't worry about me. I'm happier now than I've ever been since I was born." Blazeshan's love was never, it was the most sincere and passionate. On our way home, we ran into Blazeshan's uncle, the man who treated Blazeshan like a dog, who tied 12-year-old Blazeshan to a corner. The man had a scruffy beard, cloudy eyes, yellow oil stains all over his clothes, and reeked of alcohol. "Blaze, you've got money now, huh? And you've even met such a pretty female classmate." Blazeshan immediately shielded me behind him, his icy gaze fixed on the man in front of him. His voice was deep and cold. "Get lost." The man in front of him exploded with rage, snarling viciously. "You little brat, you think you're something now? How dare you talk to me like that? Have you forgotten when I had you tied up like a dog, Pa? You're worse than a dog. You didn't even get bones to gnaw on. How did it feel to starve 9 meals in 3 days? The brutal experiences of Blazeshan's youth were laid bare, and I trembled with rage. I cursed, telling him to get lost, and raised my hand to strike the man across the face. Blazeshan wrapped an arm around my waist, leaned in, and whispered, "Don't dirty your hands." Then, with a swift kick, he sent the person crashing into the wall. The man groaned in pain, staggering to his feet, his gaze dark and venomous as he glared at us. Suddenly, he lunged forward, the silver blade in his hand glinting ominously. Blazeshan delivered another kick, but not before getting a slash on his arm. The white school uniform was stained with large, glaring patches of blood. Before long, the police arrived. I accompanied Blazeshan to the hospital. From a distance, I could still hear the shouts, "I'm his uncle. I can do whatever I want to him. You have no right to arrest me." What a disgusting person. Most of Blazeshan's clothes were soaked in blood. I trembled with fear, my face quickly turning pale, inevitably recalling the night Blazeshan died in my previous life. Blazeshan held me tightly with his blood-free arm, comforting me in a gentle voice. "Myra, I'm fine." Arrived at the hospital, the cut isn't deep, no need for hospitalization. Just avoid getting it wet these days and remember to come in daily for dressing changes, the doctor said while disinfecting the wound. Blazeshan's forehead was beaded with cold sweat, veins bulging on his arm. The Wutong Lane in the evening was quiet and cool, with the cicadas chirping accentuating the serenity. We sat together on the bench. Blazeshan took my hand, intertwining our fingers. He smiled gently and said, "Myra, I heard red velvet cake is delicious. After we're discharged, let's have some together." "Okay." I stood up, slowly pressing his head against the crook of my neck, gently stroking his hair. "Blazeshan, if you're hurting, just cry. I'm here, and I'll stay with you. Whoever hurt you will pay the price, no matter who they are." Large teardrops fell onto the crook of my neck, the damp heat of his breath nearly scalding me. Blazeshan's voice choked with sobs. "Myra." He locked me up, treated me like a dog. "Don't be afraid anymore, Blazeshan. I'm here, don't be scared." Blazeshan's uncle was only detained at the police station for a month in the end. I'm very afraid he might still cause trouble for Blazeshan. I stayed with Blazeshan the whole time, never leaving his side, until Blazeshan's uncle died. The police came to the door just as I was at Blazeshan's house. Got drunk, walked by the shore, accidentally drowned. I had never imagined such an ending. A tremendous sense of relief and joy followed. I froze. No one would harm Blazetion again. The weather grew increasingly cold. It had already begun to snow. Blazetion was still wearing his autumn school uniform jacket. The chain was pulled up high, with the sleeves and waist looking quite loose. It was impossible to tell how many layers he had on underneath. Sunday. I carried several large shopping bags from the mall and called Blazetion to my home. Blazetion, take off your clothes. His face turned completely red, and he didn't dare to move. I laughed at his reaction. What are you thinking? Not everything. Just leave the innermost layer on, okay? Blazetion became increasingly unguarded around me. He did whatever I asked him to do. His clothes were peeled off layer by layer like an onion. The shrunken, pilled sweater was worn over a shirt. And beneath the shirt was a summer undershirt. Layer upon layer, who knows how many. Blazetion truly has no idea how to take care of himself. He stared at me blankly, unsure of what to do. I opened the shopping bag and took out 2 sweaters, one black and one white. The mall has a promotion. Buy one, get one free, and the free one happens to be your size. The label's already been cut off, so if you don't take it, it'll just go to waste. Besides, don't you want to match with me? He took the clothes and fell silent for a long moment, then looked down at me intently. Myra, I know, the things you give me aren't as simple as you make them out to be. I also know you're trying to be considerate of my feelings, my insecurities. He paused, gently wrapping an arm around my shoulders, and continued, you can trust me. I won't be overly sensitive or push you away. I care about you too. From now on, I'll love you the way you want to be loved. I raised my head and met his glistening eyes again, where I was the only one reflected. Blazetion, actions speak louder than words. I won't let you down. I pulled out another black down jacket from the shopping bag. Blazetion, put this on too. I picked it out for a long time. It's a matching couple's outfit, just like mine. Alright, the days of senior year passed quickly, and the transition from winter to spring seemed to happen in the blink of an eye, layer by layer. The heavy clothes came off, and I felt lighter in both body and spirit. The June heat was intense, and the college entrance exams arrived as scheduled. The final exam came to an end. I walked out of the exam hall, and Blazetion was already waiting for me downstairs. He was holding a bouquet of pink roses in his hand. I held Blazetion's hand as we walked along Wutong Street. Blazetion, why do you like pink roses so much? Because it represents eternal love. The sun was blazing, bright and radiant. I walked through the bustling crowd with a large bouquet of roses. Blazetion, Myra Jiang will always love you too. I checked the results online. And there's no problem with Blazetion and I getting into the same university. Both classes organized graduation parties, went out to eat together, and had other activities. Blazetion and I weren't together. He looked at me hesitantly, unable to make up his mind, not counting Chen Qiu. In his previous life, Blazetion had no friends. In this life, Blazetion should experience friendship in all its aspects. His life shouldn't be so barren. I leaned over and took his hand. Blazetion, go and have some fun. You should make more friends. He didn't deny it. Perhaps Blazetion still harbored a longing for friendship. We'll have dinner together. Then I'll come find you. Okay, Myra. Alright, if you need to drink, remember to drink less. Okay, I'll listen to Myra. Blazetion and I did end up going to the same university. In that city, I met Blazetion's sister, Shenyun. Shenyun and Blazetion don't look alike. Blazetion has sharp features, a high nose bridge, and light-colored eyes that always carry a hint of laughter, with a small black mole under the corner of his eye adding a touch of tenderness and charm. Shenyun has deep-colored eyes, slightly upturned peach blossom eyes, and very thin lips, giving her a capable and beautiful appearance. She extended her hand to me. Hello, I'm Blazetion's sister, Shenyun. I gently shook her hand and smiled obediently. Hello, sister, I'm Blazetion's girlfriend, Myra Jiang. Shenyun is a student majoring in journalism and communication. She has a straightforward personality, and her goal is to become a journalist. At the dinner table, no one spoke, but the atmosphere was warm. As we were about to part, Shenyun's eyes glistened with tears. Myra Jiang, I don't know what to say, but I just hope you and Blaze will be together for a long, long time. Returning home, I felt extremely uneasy. On my phone, I chatted casually with Shenyun for a while. I learned that she had a part-time job as a cleaner at a bar. This made me even more anxious, as I couldn't shake the feeling that something bad would happen. Blaze-shan saw my expression and gently patted my back. What's wrong? Sister Shan is working part-time at a bar. It's definitely not safe late at night. So I'm a bit worried. Blaze-shan thought for a moment and told me not to worry, saying he would figure something out. The next day, Shenyun quit her job at the bar. She complained to me over the phone. Blaze seems well behaved, but is actually quite stubborn. He forced me to quit my job and shoved the money into my hands. I'm the older sister. How could I take money from my younger brother? Blaze-shan helped her find another job at a coffee shop. The next time I heard news about Wang Lei, it was in the city news. The girl who was forced stabbed him in the chest with a knife while in bed, died on the spot. Blaze-shan and I have been in a relationship for 3 years. During the summer vacation of my junior year, I introduced Blaze-shan to my parents. Blaze-shan stayed up all night, fiddling with his phone the whole time. The next day, I woke up. The first thing I saw was Blaze-shan, dressed in a shirt and trousers, his hair slicked back with pomade. This look of his was quite similar to his appearance in my past life. I waved at him and deliberately teased, Blaze-shan, looking so handsome, let me give you a kiss. Blaze-shan was very obedient, leaning in with a slightly stiff body, closing his eyes, and waiting for me to kiss him. Blaze-shan, why do you always blush? Even your ears are red. I gently pinched his earlobe with my fingers and softly exhaled. Blaze-shan lifted his eyelids, gazing at me intently. Myra, you're always teasing me. I forced myself to stay calm. What, can't I tease you? He moved closer, his breath brushing against my lips. Millimeter, only you can tease me. His slightly cool lips touched my cheek. Now, I was actually a little embarrassed. To my parents' house, Blaze-shan took out 1, 2, 3, more and more health supplements, cigarettes, and alcohol from the trunk. Why did you buy so much? This time, it's just for my parents to meet you. It's not much, Myra. As we approached the door, I noticed Blaze-shan's steps becoming increasingly stiff, almost to the point of walking awkwardly. I tightened my grip on his hand, giving it a few reassuring rubs. My parents stood at the doorway, dressed impeccably. They looked as if they had prepared meticulously for this moment. As soon as they saw us, they came forward with warm smiles. Oh, Myra and Blaze are both here. Come in, all of you. Yes, come in quickly. The food is almost ready. We were just waiting for you to arrive. After settling into the living room, Blaze-shan obediently greeted them with uncle and auntie, then sat with his hands on his knees, not daring to let his eyes wander. 25-year-old Blaze-shan was calm, polite, and amiable on his first visit, the epitome of a successful businessman. My parents asked about our relationship, teasing us a little. Blaze-shan stumbled over his words in response. At the dinner table, Dad drank and patted Blaze-shan on the shoulder, saying, Blaze-shan, you're a good lad. I have high hopes for you. Come on, let's have a few more drinks. Blaze-shan was made to drink several glasses of wine by my dad and sat there with a flushed face. No matter what was asked, he obediently answered, except his speech was much slower than usual. Mom was worried about letting us go back, so she prepared a guest room. Blaze-shan kept his head down, letting me lead him. His steps were a bit unsteady, closely following me, his breath brushing against my ear. I handed him a glass of warm water, bringing it to his lips. Blaze-shan simply stared straight at me, his moist eyes unblinking, softly calling my name. Myra, Myra. What's wrong? Hearing my voice, he suddenly bent down and hugged me tightly, breathing heavily. Myra, you smell so good. Can I kiss you? I couldn't help but laugh. Usually, Blaze-shan is very restrained, with little physical contact, but when drunk, his greed is exposed. Sure. But you have to tell me when exactly you started liking me. He slowly stammered out a few words. The flower bed, first year of high school, when you came to help. Suddenly, that long-buried memory came back to me. So that was actually our first meeting. Seeing that I had found the answer, Blaze-shan immediately grew restless, pressing his warm lips against my cheek. It was a spring day during my first year of high school, during the morning exercise break. Everyone had gone to the playground to run. I had sprained my ankle a few days earlier, so I had the privilege of skipping it. Staying in the classroom was too stuffy, so I wandered around the campus. Passing by the flower bed, I saw Blazion in his school uniform squatting beside it, motionless. Fearing something might be wrong, I quickly approached him. "Hey, are you feeling faint?" Startled by me, he turned to leave but didn't even have the strength to stand up. I'm a little hungry." Blazion's face was pale from hunger. I quickly took out some candy from my pocket and stuffed it into his mouth. "Classmate, wait here for a bit, I'll go buy you some bread. Wait for me, no matter what." When I returned, Blazion was still in the same spot. I broke the bread into pieces and put them into his mouth, then fed him a few sips of milk. He slightly lowered his head and repeatedly thanked me. He was very thin, his exposed bones looking almost sharp enough to hurt. Seeing his condition improve, I let out a long sigh of relief. I bought a big bag of snacks and stuffed them all into his arms. "Classmate, take all of these. If you ever have any difficulties, you can come find me. I'm Myra Jiang from Class 13, Grade 1 of the Liberal Arts." For a long time, this person never came to find me. Soon, I completely forgot about this matter. Blazion was far too insignificant in the radiant brilliance of my youth. After graduation, Blazion started working, while I chose to pursue graduate studies. Just like in my previous life, after he earned his first pot of gold, he bought me an apartment in City A, registered solely under my name. Later, he co-founded a startup with friends, working around the clock. Yet he never complained about being tired in front of me. He finally felt a bit more at ease only after the company started to improve. Blazion has never been one to prepare surprises. He would even ask me if I liked something before giving it to me. On a very ordinary day, my face suddenly appeared on the big screen in the square. Our friends came from all directions, each holding a bouquet of flowers. Blazion knelt on one knee, while the person behind him thrust a large bouquet of pink roses into his arms. The morning kiss had become a thing of the past. "My time, Myra, will you?" I walked straight up to him, extended my hand, and said, "Blazion, put it on me." At the wedding venue, our family and friends were all present. I walked slowly towards Blazion in my white wedding dress. He stood quietly on the stage, tall and poised, exuding an air of steady composure. "Mr. Shun, do you take Miss Jiang to be your wife, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer?" Before the words were finished, Blazion's choked voice sounded. "Myra, I do." Someone in the audience teased, "Myra Jiang, give him a kiss." "Blazion, don't be so timid, just kiss her. Put on the ring, it's time to put on the ring." I picked up a handkerchief to wipe the tears from his face and gently kissed his cheek. "Why are you still calling me Myra?" Blazion's strength was astonishing. He lifted me up with one arm and spun me around several times. He whispered in my ear, "Wife." Time was gentle, the years deep and long. From then on, my world was bathed in scorching sunlight. The passage of time filled with sound, and every season like a song.